Assalamu alaikum. Hope you are doing well. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon.
Hi, so in this video we are going to talk about association, composition and aggregation. So I have one video on this composition and it's better to explain what's the difference between these three right now. So basically association is kind of has a relationship between two objects, and this composition and aggregation is two different part of this association. Okay, so there are two kind of has a relationship. One is composition and another one is this aggregation. Now what's the difference between these two actually? So if you watch my previous video, then I just show you that okay, in this account class we do have a address class, right? Address class object. So this account holder address, so this one is this particular class. So basically this account has an address that is has a relationship, but the main point that if it's a composition or if it's aggregation. So the difference between this composition and aggregation is coupling. So if it's a strong dependency or if it's a weak dependency. So basically this composition means that both objects cannot individually exist at the same time. So let's say if we go into this section like this vehicle class, okay. So this is a good example of composition. So vehicle has engine, vehicle has tire, but vehicle cannot exist without engine if it's a active vehicle, or it cannot exist without tire. That means this vehicle is dependent on this engine and tire strongly. So like it's represent a part of a relationship. Both entry are dependent on each other basically. Again, if we try to think from that perspective, then engine cannot exist without a vehicle. So when there is a composition between two entities, the composed object cannot exist without other entity. That means this vehicle cannot exist without engine and tire. So if we have strong coupling or strong dependency on other object, in that case that is composition. But if this object can exist without depending on another object, in that case that is aggregation. So if let's say for this association example, let's say we have a college, and in a college there are a student and teacher. So basically this student can exist without this college, and then this college can exist without this student. In this relationship is basically aggregation instead of composition. This is just a technical term, nothing else. The implementation remains same. Okay, so there is no change in the implementation. This is just how we can think that okay, if it's a composition or if it's a aggregation. So in this aggregation we have weak bonding between object, and in case of composition we have a strong bonding of object. Okay, so for our example we can think of that okay, if this address is really necessary for account holder or not. So if it's a mandatory, then this is like composition. But if it's not mandatory, if it's optional, in that case we can think of this as aggregation, right? Because it's not mandatory to have an address for an account holder. So basically it's depend on the context, it depends on the situation that if it's a composition or aggregation. So there is no change in the implementation details, but only the technical term is different if it's strongly dependent or not. One more thing I want to clear in this video, that we can have different kind of relationship, like one-to-one relationship. Like for this one we have one-to-one relationship, right? This account holder has an address, but basically this could be a list of address, right? So one could be present address, one could be permanent address. So this could be a list of address. In that case this is one-to-many relationship. So it's saying that we can have different kind of relationship, one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, many-to-many. So in this kind of relationship, it depends on the problem, it depends on the context, but we can have different kind of relationship, and we can just think of that okay, if it's aggregation or composition. So key point to differentiate between composition and aggregation is that if it's dependent entity object to exist on the parent object, in that case that is composition. If it's not dependent or if they can individually exist, in that case that is aggregation. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and if you like my video, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Thank you.